Alright, so I recently picked up a copy of Castlevania Bloodlines, which is actually pretty neat, but some of you may have noticed right away from the get-go that this cartridge may look a little bit off. It may look a little bit different, and that's because the copy I got was not an official copy at all, but it's actually a bootleg. So I thought it would be pretty neat to make a video on it, and let's get started. So the first thing I noticed, obviously, when I started to play it was when you put it into the system, it actually takes a lot more force than if you were to put in a normal game. There you can see my copy of Shinobi 3. I can put it in and take it out with a relative amount of ease. But then if you see the bootleg cartridge, it actually takes quite a bit of force to put into the slot the right way, and then when you pull it out, actually it takes a lot more force to do that too. So there's that. And here you can see I'm actually opening up the bootleg now. It actually isn't held together by any screws. It's just held together by a bunch of plastic tabs. I actually broke some of the tabs when I was opening it up, so now it's just held together with tabs on one side and then some scotch tape. Pull out the board. It's a very, very cheaply made, fused to plastic. It's not built to last. And it's got one of those black globs like they do on calculators too. No ROM chip. Or the ROM chip is that black glob. Uh, so, and then here I've actually got a legitimate game, Streets of Rage 2, one of my favorites too, and I'll take that out and I'll go ahead and unscrew that so you can have something to compare it to. So here I am going to unscrew it. I was actually having a pretty hard time doing this on camera. I actually messed up one of the screws. I didn't unscrew it enough, so I'm going to look like a complete idiot as I try and pull it apart while it's still stuck to. Yep, there I go. Okay. Alright, so as soon as it's opened, you can immediately see the difference in build quality of the Genesis. The original Genesis games built so much better. Actually, even might notice that the contacts on it are gold instead of some cheaper metal, which actually impresses me quite a bit. I think I'm going to hold it up to the camera in a second. Am I? Yeah, I'm going to. I remember doing that. Yeah, here you can see I'm holding it up to the camera. You can see even the solder contacts on the back look a million times better. And then when you flip it over to the fronts, of course, you can see there's an actual ROM chip the way it's supposed to be. You've got a capacitor, the contacts are gold, and of course you've got a full board. These things are definitely built to last, and they're going to last a long time. But yeah, you can see very, very good build. And then I hold up the bootleg cartridge. You can see it's just got like the black blob, the same kind they have on calculators. Much cheaper metal. It's plastic fused to a cheap circuit board, not built to last at all. Extremely cheap, bad soldering, and just a bad board overall. But it was a lot cheaper than the legitimate Castlevania, so I will say that's good. And just here's another shot of those same boards. You see the legitimate one on the right and the bootleg on the left. You can see again, this isn't really as well lit as the last one, but you can still see the black blob. Not very well done. I've also put a picture in of the back of a standard Genesis cartridge just to help show the differences between it and the bootleg. You can notice, for one, it actually does have actual screws, if you didn't notice in the video, which I would be surprised if you didn't. And also, it's just a lot better manufactured. You can see it's got the official Sega logo and some warnings that actually make sense. However, you can't really say the same about the bootleg. You can see as it switches over, the first thing you'll notice is it just got plastic molds where the screw's supposed to be because there are no screws. Those aren't plastic screws, they're just a mold that shows where the screws are. And the warnings actually kind of crack me up a bit. Do not bend it in direct sunlight or near a radiator. Well, I mean, like, what's wrong with bending it in direct sunlight? And then, of course, my favorite be sure to take an occasional recess during extended play dash 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 PLE. Anyway, so yeah, it's not exactly they didn't really do spell check on here. I guess though once you put it in the system, it doesn't really make a big difference because here it is running Castlevania Bloodlines, and it's actually a pretty good game. Maybe I'll do a review on it sometime. I really wish they did sell more copies originally because this is definitely a game that everyone should be able to play. It's really good. But yeah, that just about concludes my my short video on the Genesis bootleg. So anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. I certainly liked making it. It was an interesting experience for me to see what's inside one of these cheap Chinese bootlegs. And every time I make a video, I learn more and more about Sony Vegas and editing. One day, my editing skills might actually be good. Or not. Anyway, please leave a like, maybe even think about subscribing. So that just about wraps it up. I'll see you next time.